So you've just typed fade out. You close your laptop and you sit there wondering, is this any good? Every writer knows that feeling, the silence after the final page, the uncertainty, the creeping suspicion that you've either written something special or wasted 6 months of your life. Today, I want to give you 5 concrete signs, 5 real indicators that you may be sitting on a banger. Not vibes, not feelings, actual craft signals that the great scripts share. Let's get into it. Most writers treat the logline like a chore, something you slap together for the query letter and then you forget about it. But that's a mistake, because the logline is actually a diagnostic tool. A great logline isn't a sales pitch, it's a proof of concept. If you can't compress your story into 2 sentences without losing everything that makes it interesting, you may not have a story yet. The logline should force your concept to become razor sharp. Here's what a killer logline needs to do, and I'll use my own project as a live example. The title is Taco Truck Jesus, and here's the logline. A disgraced documentary filmmaker tries to rekindle his career by claiming he's found the second coming of Christ as a taco truck vendor in Miami, only to discover he may be right. Let's break down what this logline does. First, the character tells you something specific and unique, not just a filmmaker, a disgraced documentary filmmaker. That one adjective, disgraced, tells you this man has something to prove. It implies history, failure, and hunger. Why is he the perfect person to tell this story? Because he's desperate enough to go there. Second, the conflict is immediate. He's claiming to have found Christ as a taco truck vendor. You know instantly what the stakes of his actions are. Third, what does he want? He wants his career back. Simple, human, relatable, even if the method is a bit unconventional. Fourth, the consequences of failure are implied. If this falls apart, he's not just unemployed, he's a fraud. He's destroyed what little credibility he has left. And fifth, the kicker, only to discover he may be right. That's where the concept shifts. That's where the story becomes something more than a con man's tale. It becomes a philosophical question. When you tell someone a great logline, something shifts in them. You see it in their face. Their eyes change. That's the one metric that matters. That's not happening if people are just nodding politely. Go back to the logline. The concept isn't sharp enough yet. Here's the thing about originality that nobody tells you. Truly original ideas are almost impossible. And that's fine, because originality in screenwriting isn't about inventing something from nothing. It's about combination. The best ideas come in pairs. You take 2 things people already understand and you give them a new twist. When those 2 elements collide in a way nobody has seen before, you've got something. Think about Back to the Future. Time travel, not new. It's been done to death. With the specific concept, a teenage kid goes back in time and accidentally prevents his own parents from falling in love. He doesn't think he can put them back together because he thinks they're losers. That's new. That's the combination that makes it work. It's a coming of age story in a time travel story. And the time travel serves the coming of age perfectly. Great ideas don't appear fully formed. They get assembled from familiar parts in an unfamiliar way. Look at Taco Truck Jesus through this lens. What are the 2 ideas in combination? The con artist story, a man exploiting a situation for personal gain, and the spiritual awakening story. What happens when the miracle turns out to be real? Those 2 ideas are in direct collision with each other. And that collision is where the story lives. When your 2 ideas are in productive tension, when they complicate each other, when they can't easily coexist, you're onto something. I know this one sounds like the kind of mystical nonsense writers say to sound interesting at parties, but stay with me. When a script is working, I mean really working, the characters stop being constructs and start having opinions. They'll tell you when something feels wrong. They'll suggest dialogue you hadn't planned. They'll refuse to go where you're trying to take them. Isn't magic, it's deep familiarity. It's what happens when you've spent enough time with these people that your subconscious has modeled them completely. Stephen King talks about writing every day at the same time for the same duration. The discipline isn't just about productivity, it's about training your brain to go deep on demand. Right in the morning, before the noise of the day begins, before your email, before your phone, before anyone else in your house is awake. You show up, you sit down, and after enough repetitions, your characters know where to find you. They'll come to you in dreams. They'll interrupt you in the shower. They'll whisper in the middle of a completely unrelated conversation. This is not a sign that you lost your mind. It's a sign that your story is alive. If your characters are completely silent, every line feels like you're writing dialogue for a puppet, that's useful information too. It means you don't know these people well enough yet. Go back, research them, write scenes that will never appear in the script. Let them breathe. Screenplay language is not the language of prose. It's not the language of poetry. It's a completely different instrument. Most writers, especially those who come from literary backgrounds, spend years unlearning the wrong habits. The screenplay is an instruction manual for a movie. It should make a reader see the film, and it should pull them forward constantly, relentlessly towards the ending. A screenplay should read like a race. Every sentence moves. Every description has a purpose. Nothing lingers. Watch how that plays out on the page. Here's a scene from Taco Truck Jesus. Notice what the action lines do. The type of place you need to download an app to use the toilet. That's one sentence. It tells you everything about this world, the wealth, the absurdity, the culture clash, without belaboring it. And then we move, right? Paco stalks the Netflix offices. 4 words. But that verb, stalks, does the work of a paragraph. You know this man is on a mission. You know he doesn't quite belong there. You're already a little nervous for him. That's what sharp script language does. It creates images, it implies feelings, and it never, ever makes the reader wait. The best definition of dialogue I've ever encountered is this: dialogue is not communication, it is miscommunication. In real life, people almost never say what they mean. They approach the real conversation from the side. They deflect, they test, they protect themselves. And then occasionally, if you're lucky, 2 people find each other in the middle of a scene and actually talk. Go back to that Netflix scene. Carlos and Paco are not having the same conversation for most of it. Carlos is trying to protect Paco from himself. Paco is trying to pitch a show. Carlos is talking about consequences. Paco is talking about belief. They're in the same room talking at each other until the very end, when Paco says, "Wouldn't you tune in to see this every week?" And Carlos knows he's right. That's the moment the scene is actually about. Everything before it is 2 people circling the real thing. Your scene should work without dialogue, but people talk, so make them talk. And make that talk reveal character through what they avoid, not what they say. A related sign, and this might be the most important one of them all. I've talked about hidden turning points before on this channel, and the scene I always come back to is a tomato joke from Pulp Fiction. What is that scene actually about? Vincent has just saved Mia from an overdose. She nearly died, and now she needs to thank him. But how do you thank someone for that? What do you say? Tarantino doesn't write the line, "Thank you for saving my life." He writes, "Three tomatoes are walking down the street." Mia tells Vincent the joke he wanted to know earlier, the one she refused to share. She's sharing it now because he deserves it. The joke is the thank you. The real scene is happening underneath the surface scene. When your scene operates on two levels simultaneously, the surface level and the emotional level, you're writing at the highest tier of the craft. Look for it in your work. If every scene is about exactly what it appears to be about, someone asks for something and either gets it or doesn't, your script may be working mechanically, but not cinematically. Push deeper. Find the real scene hiding inside the obvious one. So those are the 5 signs plus a bonus that you may be sitting on a killer screenplay. Your logline does real diagnostic work. Your idea is a winning combination of familiar elements with a new twist. Your characters have stopped obeying you and started surprising you. Your language moves like a race. Your dialogue is productive miscommunication, and your scenes are operating on 2 levels at once. If this helped, hit like and subscribe. And if you want to make films that genuinely move people and not just look nice, stick around. I'll show you the simple frameworks I wish I had when I started. And if you feel like you've poured your soul into your work, but it's still not landing the way it should, let me help you level up, because every great film starts with the script. In my course, From Meh to Masterpiece, I break down the hidden code behind stories that actually work. The link is below. And remember, don't just direct your movies, direct your life.